How's everybody doing today? This is your friendly neighborhood appliance technician, Chris. And this is C&G Appliance Television. I'm just going to do a short intro on this guy. What this is an Eaton-style Maytag water valve. Okay, it's on this model right here. This is an A412. You see it right there. But any kind of Maytag in this sort of style, in this configuration, they're dependable carriers. A lot of stuff have this similar style water valve. What I'm here to do today is to show you guys that this water valve can actually be, and forgive me for doing this, refurbished. Okay. I have an example over here of a Whirlpool Eaton-style water valve, and this bracket, as you can see, it's got a ring of bolts around it. That comes off, actually, and it reveals how the water valve works inside. Now, back in the day, they used to sell, this is probably, it's 2020 now, there's several, it's probably been 20 years since they've sold rebuild kits for these things, and they weren't very popular because you could get these valves for, you know, 12 bucks. I've seen these online for, you know, 13 bucks or whatever, and it's not really practical. But if you're cheap like me, or you just want to learn something, and you have a for sure bad solenoid, this top solenoid is bad, I've tested it, then you can actually, you know, get another solenoid like this one and throw it in, and that's what is from this valve. Now, I may replace both of these solenoids. I probably will, just so that they're the same age, but then again, they're relatively the same age anyway. So like I was saying, the rebuild kits were not very popular, and what they came with was the screens inside here. As you can see, that Oklahoma is a state with very, very hard water, and I don't know if that camera will focus very much on that, but you can see how they are in comparison to this one that I've already mostly cleaned. Okay, there's still a little bit of deposits in this guy right here that you can see, but he's not too bad. So I've already taken care of those. What you can do, if I can show this on camera here, is you can actually take a screwdriver and, oh, it's really hard to do this with one hand, but what I'm saying is you can pop these screens out. If you do pop the screens out, please, please, please be sure to put them back in, because deposits can get into these valves in these diaphragms and really mess them up. Okay, so basically what you have in this mess, I'm going to use this valve to prop this up sort of here, if I can do that right like that-ish. I'll prop it up like that. Okay, so what you're going to see here, get this out of the way, is the plunger inside here. If I can actually pull these apart, these have been fused together for a long time. This is just a parts valve, so I'm not too worried about it, but we're trying to just kind of, yep, there we go. And you can actually pry these apart. And I'm just really doing this to show you the inner workings. That's your diaphragm right there, and then inside you have the plunger and the spring. And of course you can tap that out and see all the nasty deposits in there. If a lot of times in your body of this water valve in here, there's a lot of stuff, if you don't, if you do not put those screens back in or clean them or introduce new ones or whatever you're going to do, there's crap that can get into these valves and cause them to stick open. And what happens is this plunger kind of props itself up a little bit. If you're not sure how these work, I'll put this valve back together a little bit and I'll show you real quick how this setup works. Okay, now this is really hard to sort of put back together. They're kind of a pain. They used to come with these, the diaphragms and springs and everything, but you can kind of click them back together. So what these do is they hang out inside here. Oops, I think I even put that together the wrong way. I did. So what they do is they hang out inside there. Okay. Again, I'm going to put this valve back together. Excuse me, guys. This is just terrible. So, okay, we'll put that valve back together so it hangs out right in the body, right there. What happens in this body, right here, is this solenoid sits over it, and then when 120 volts comes in here, it picks that plunger up, allows it to act on this diaphragm, which now is open to household water pressure flowing in there, and it flows out your outlet right here. Very simple system, very easy to understand. Now let's get on to how to replace a solenoid in this. So, I'm kind of trying to do this in one take, guys. Actually, I may just shut this off and position myself a little bit better so that I can use two hands. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back here. So, what we're going to do first, the first thing you're going to need is a 1/4-inch nut driver. I just have this little this impact driver here, my DeWalt impact driver, to just save us some time. I've already had this apart. So what you're going to do is remove all the springs, or remove all the screws. Keep in mind where this bracket goes if there is one. I'm just going to pop these out real quick. Okay, now that we've got all these out, we can remove the body, and you're going to come up. We don't need to worry about our diaphragm, so we're just going to set the valve body aside, and we're focusing on this guy right here. What I also have is a 5/16 socket with an extension in my case. You can use a punch and whatever you'd like. Just pay attention to where these things go, and you take your hammer, and what we're going to do is just punch these into, oops, I'm not going to hammer on that, that's stupid. Why would I do that? Might need to actually take my punch that I've got over here. I'm going to actually grab this punch right here. So it helps if you've got a punch or a screwdriver or something like that. But the basic theory here is we're just punching the holes. Sorry guys, get this stabilized. Okay. So what we're doing is we're kind of just punching this through. Yeah, just like that. That'll fall into the valve. You don't see the ring there anymore. Okay. This is the solenoid in question here too, because I remember it's the top one. Now, sometimes your top and your bottom rings are a little bit different. Oops, I'm actually gonna put this here just so I don't mess things up. Probably was the smart thing to do in the first place, but I'm not really that worried about the finish on this washing machine either. Actually, I'm going to start it with this punch right here. Oh, there we go, a little bit. Okay, that kind of went a little cockeyed, but okay. Now that has fallen into the valve, and we can retrieve our rings. As you can see, we can retrieve those. And we'll just put those aside. Long one goes in the top, short one goes in the bottom. So we have our bad solenoid. We're just going to yeet over there. And actually, this bracket is a little tweaked, so I'm going to actually grab something to bend it down real quick. Bend this back down a little bit so that it actually, engages the solenoid. Does what it's supposed to do. So we take this solenoid and we stick that guy right in there. Just like that. Now we've got to line our holes up. Okay, and remember, our long one goes in the top. So what we can do now is just kind of start it. Oh, that's not going in right, is it? There we go. And you drive it down flush, and we do the same thing on the other side. Just gonna use this ring, I think. Now we're just going to introduce this ring right here, and it takes a little bit of finesse to get this guy started, and it would definitely help if I was using a vise. Okay, it doesn't have to go in, it'll straighten itself up eventually here. Oops. Fine, we'll just use the original one. Alright, we'll make sure, now we're going to make sure that that's flush with the top there, just as the other one is, and that new solenoid is not going anywhere. So all you do now, you don't have to put anything around these, you can just slap them back together. That's how they were from the factory. And they'll kind of fit together in such a way, and there you go, replace solenoid. No dents, we're good. That's the one thing about old Maytags, guys, is their finish really is strong. It's the old enamel paint. So like we said, we take our bracket right here and make sure we get that in. And I just kind of start these screws by hand to begin. And I'm gonna be real light on this. I'm not gonna get into the impact or anything like that. I'm just gonna screw them in, and we'll be good. Helps if you kind of start from the center out, kind of like a cylinder head on the car, but it's not. Hello everybody, I just wanted to sort of add in sort of an ending to this video because it didn't have any. My phone usually automatically switches storage, and it didn't in this case for whatever reason. What you saw at the end of this video is me putting the water valve back together, essentially. So you finish putting all your screws in and kind of just finish it up. You can put them in sort of like a cylinder head on a car, but as I was saying in the video, you don't necessarily have to. You can go around in a ring, make sure all your brackets are there if you have them, and tighten it up. For the record, the one that I had in this particular machine worked fine after I put it back in. The washer that was there ended up having other issues, so I ended up having to scrap the whole machine anyway. I did keep the water valve just to use in future things. So no machine that I have ever goes to waste. So just wanted to add that little blurb in. Everything went together just fine. Like I said, just finish bolting that bracket on, and then you're good. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I got more content coming real soon.